initiate a space flight, as explained here in the core rules, but we're going now straight ahead to the space combat and space flight section because we have everything here inside as well. Here it's a little bit more in detail, but all we need to do it is here as well. So I explain it using this sheet. So we're closing the rules section now. Here we have the rule for the space combat itself, and here's for this flight initiating. So first, choose a location difficulty. This alters the treasures we find in the location later on, and also the space combat if something happened. So let's say I want a location difficulty of 2. Okay, then your initial flight difficulty is the chosen location difficulty. So at the moment, the flight difficulty would be the same. Okay, but we can select options, one of those options, and here we have to select one A or B plus C or D. Of course, we can select no option as well, or whatever. The difference is here, as example, if I take the risky shortcut, flight difficulty +1 grants you 2 dice modifications during location generation. This means the world we find, we can influence more. We just don't find some random world. We have more modifications who form the world, what we like to find. Maybe you want to find a specific race to enemy species to fight against. So this is maybe important. Or we can smuggle goods, making the flight more difficult, but then we get some extra money. Or vice versa, we go to pay our smuggler to guide us there. So the flight difficulty gets lower, but we have to pay him. Let's say we take the risky shortcut, flight difficulty +1. We can note it here, flight options, risky shortcut means flight difficulty +1. So this is now a 3. The location difficulty stays the same. And you grant 2 dice modifications. I write here 2 DMs, dice modifications later on. And now we have to check if something happens. Oh, we have another option here, safe and sound. If we take that, we get 2 dice modifications extra, and we don't have the risk for any space combat then. But the disadvantage is we are not allowed, because it costs a lot of time, safe and sound. We cannot land at the location in this game turn. So we can find a very specific one, but we can land only in the next game turn. So we're skipping one dungeon exploration, which is maybe worth a lot of experience and items we can find there. So we not choose this option. Okay, then we can check to avoid space combat if we like. You can always run into a space combat. If you like, I want to have a combat, then we don't even roll a die. But if you say, no, I have not such a good fighter ship, I want to avoid it, it's quite simple. To do so, roll a d6 in compared to the flight difficulty. You need to roll equal or higher, and a 1 is always a fail. So we have a flight difficulty of 3, so we try to avoid it. 5 would be a success, so we have no space combat. If we have a space combat, let's say I rolled a 1, you still have the ability to avoid the combat. Then you just fly away, you find your location, but the disadvantage is you get no bonus. So not like in Safe and Sound where you get some dice modifications. Then if you avoid it, you just get a absolutely random world generated, and you also cannot land there at this game turn. But we won't do it. Let's say we want to have the space combat. If we failed the roll or by force wanted it, we want to have a space combat. Then the number of the space combat is the doubled flight difficulty. Flight difficulty is 3 times 2 is 6 plus a d3. A d3 is you just half the result. So 1 and 2 would be a 1, 3 and 4 eyes would be a 2, and 5 and 6 would be a 3. Let's say, because I have it in the German tutorial, that the same number, let's say I rolled a 4, so it's counting as a 2. So 4 plus a 6 plus 2 is 8. So we have the hunter. Hunter ships attacking us. It's the same what I have in the German tutorial. Okay, so here in the flight table, we have all the parameters for what is going on. And here is our space combat sheet. Here's our ship and here are the enemies. So we entering here, the enemy type is a hunter. This is always the same at the moment. Hunter, hunter, hunter. The structure points. This is the explanation of the values here. It's first the structure points, then the crew number, the weapon damage they deal, then the shield and the shield recharge. So structure point and crew is 6 and 3. They're small ships, nothing very heavy. They're dealing 4 damage. Their shield is 3 and the recharge is 1. And all are the same type, so I can write it everywhere here. And this alters during combat, so maybe you should write it in the left side, not in the middle as I did, in the center. Okay, and here is our ship. Quite simple. Our ship has, the Icarus has 26 structure points. We have no armor, no a hull expansion, which grants more structure points. So at the moment, 26 structure points. We have no shield installed, we just have 3 lasers. And here are the crew members, Mila, Paul, and Lex. We can use them for different checks, like let's say we roll a hit check. So if the enemy hit us, we can evade, make a repair, uh, avoid enemy attack. Oh, that's difference. The reroll the hit check is if we fire at some enemy, and you can use all heroes only once per space combat. Okay, now the space combat is defined, and oh, one thing we forget: we have the timeline and objectives. Sometimes you not just need to defeat the enemies. In this case, we have to defeat 3 hunters and it's done. But if you have objectives, you have to solve some special quests. I explain it later on in the space combat section. But we have a timeline. Here, hunter, I write it down. Evade, nothing. A is attack. Then nothing, then they attack, and T is timeout, then they escape, as I remember. Here, attack, backup, combat, evading, game over, idle, shields, the recharge shields, time, and victory. Time is like a timeout. So you know what happened. Objectives are you need your crew to solve some special cases, objectives to solve the combat. If we get destroyed by those enemy ships, it's game over. If we escape, we cannot land on the location, but we can generate it. And if we are successfully, we get loot, we get experience, and of course still land at in the location. So normally, if possible, we want to run the space combat and get some success and get experience points. But of course, we not want to risk too much. We not want to lose crew members or ship systems. Yep, that's the definition of the initiation of space combat and the space flight. And now we have the case that the space combat happens in the next tutorial.